Welcome to the Inspired Evolution, and it is such a treat today to bring you the vibes from Adrian. Adrian, how are you?
Yeah, good, brother. Welcome, man. Thank you for your show, man.
For those dropping into Adrian, it's Adrian Anteros. How do I say Anteros? Yeah,
Anteros.
Yeah, beautiful. He's dropping into his vibe for the first time. He's basically a flower shaman. He makes perfumes. He's a plant intuitive. He works on that level. Flower essence practitioner. He's a biodynamic gardener. He's a poet. He's a musician. There's a lot of creative juices flowing in and around that. He's traveled the world learning the sacred art of working with plants, and he does that with the agenda to try and awaken a consciousness. He's worked from Africa to Peru to Indigenous Australia. He studied with shamans, elders, modern teachers, and he's done that for over 25 years now. A few of the modern people that he's worked with include Linda Tucker, Jeremy Ball, Indigenous elders such as Bob Randall, Frank Ansell, and they've all assisted him in expanding his already innate ability to communicate with this plant, so they've helped him dial that in. And his unique gift, Adrian believes, was passed down from his Tahitian grandmother, who was born on the small island of Moorea, known as the Island of Flowers and Perfume, which is very poetic and very only appropriate. And so Adrian was also born gifted with an intimate connection to scent. The sensitivity to smell was explored in his childhood years via the constant flow of people through his family's retail business. In the shopfront setting, he was exposed to a plethora of fragrance with the enormous variety of unique tastes that a multicultural community brings. He was able to hone these skills in a rich aromatic landscape and learn how men and women creatively express themselves through the diverse language of scent. And Adrian has woven these unique gifts into what he now offers as Pureheart Alchemy, which I can't wait to have a chat about, a plant-based platform that aims to share the beauty and the vibration of nature for the transformation of humanity. He works to educate others on the power of plants through his frequency-raising products and events. He also shares the beautiful experience that is botanical medicine. Man, it is such a treat to have you here today. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure, man. Thank you.
I'd love to sort of have this conversation because you mentioned that you've your grandmother was a massive I guess some sort of inspiration to you, but you didn't even know it at some point. Is that kind of, am I touching on something right there?
Yeah, pretty much, man. I think you're, it's usually what I found, it's usually your grandfolks, ancestors, that hold this deep wisdom, knowledge there, and the library's ready to pop in when I'm ready, or when anyone else is ready. So I didn't realise she was where she was from, or maybe I didn't seek it out before I was ready to acknowledge more of my own gifts. Mm-hmm. Her being a perfumer on a small island, originally making them, creating them from the flowers they grew themselves, which is. It's pretty unique art in itself, pretty raw too.
I just picturing that lifestyle in your mind, it just sounds ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah, man. So I only went back there 2 years ago to this little island. They had to cut through a small passage in the reef just to make sure everyone could get there, years beforehand. So it's pretty damn cool reeling back into that. Sort of reminiscing on it too, that it's something can always be there, just sort of like ready to tap into, and right frame, right space, right consciousness, and ready to upload,
Yeah, dormant but active.
Yeah, and it's unforced, because that way it's it comes through more of a spiritual lineage than a textbook or something like that. That's kind of the way I like to work. I like to roll with, really be flexible with the hand down of verbal knowledge. Mm-hmm. That resonates much deeper for me on a heart level, so that I can just sort of nurture and cradle that information myself, and then put it into a good practice of wandering the garden, creating whatever I need to do. Yeah, man.
So in terms of in terms of this connection to the plants, like, and also, so you've had this perfumery before you were aware that your grandmother was the perfumer, yeah?
Yeah, probably a decade before, a decade before I'd been, working with different mediums and natural naturopathy style of medicines, herbalism as well. That was on site, on farms, medicinal farms, things like that, which really give you a hands-on emotional feel on what these plants have to offer, being in there, being day after day, walking those tracks of where they grow under barefoot. It's pretty damn cool knowing I'm embodying it. I'm big actually big on embodiment of information. Embody the information so it becomes your own before you display it out into the bigger cosmos or bigger world.
Yeah, that resonates with me. There was it was about sometime last year that it really the penny dropped for me, the difference between knowledge and wisdom, and knowledge being something you can like acquire through reading and stuff like that, but wisdom actually like coming from experience and much more difficult to surrender. It's just like once wisdom's in there, it's in there because you embodied the knowledge, and then wisdom is purely just embodied knowledge for me, and that really potent what that means for you. And so so you've had this connection to the plants, and in your bio we can obviously sort of see that there's always been this lifelong sort of journey, but was it always kind of clear that you were going to be working with plants and creating a perfumery, or were there some other things that you've done along the way?
I've really always been around and fascinated by the very almost like the psychic emotional effect that plants have upon us, like the geometry and the color of them, the color therapy, the shapes, the way those shapes of these particular beautiful flowers fit with us, like the lotus of the crown, or that sort of simplistic way of putting it. But the way that they lead us into the next phase of our evolution, these beautiful nursemaids, almost, I call them too, beautiful nursemaid flowers, the most immaculate, highest vibration of the plant, is waiting all its life sometimes, a plant to flower. So, witnessing stuff like that in motion, having my own garden, it's pretty spectacular stuff, and all, you can't schedule it. I might know my seasons, but I can't control it, which is pretty good. Let all the shit go,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So on something there that I'm curious about. So the flower is the most, the flower is the highest vibrational part of the plant generally, or rule of thumb?
As a vibration, a particular the way it emits a frequency, the flower itself, because it's held its its whole lineage and wisdom in the seed, to this to the soil, to the to its growth, foliage, awaits its whole life to flower.
Yeah.
So that's it's pretty unstaged in our eyes, but it's really happening right from the seed, if the seed only knew it was such a beautiful flower, that type of thing. So a bit like consciousness too, we're dropping all these seeds in all the time, just always waiting to flower, which is pretty quite beautiful. I mean, flowers in themselves, I kind of like cymatics as well, the cymatics of how flowers have that vibration, the way they vibrate, that particular geometry to us as a reflection as well. It's quite an amazing unfolding story continuously in my garden, man.
So, when was the first time you realised you really needed to have a garden or wanted to have a garden? When did that relationship with the garden start?
I'd say the reason I was drawn to have a garden was that I was told earlier on I was allergic. I did have an allergic reactions or allergy towards any medicines, any pharmaceutical medicines, penicillin. Couldn't have any injections. None of those. None of those nasty penetrators that we don't really need. Yeah, without going too far into it.
Yeah.
I actually had to be the weave in natural medicines into my life.
Yep.
As a way of support, as a way of health, as a natural barrier against whatever else it was out there in the world too, you know. So it was almost like a must at first, but obviously I incarnated with a certain configuration that I was steered towards plants. That was it. You know?
I find that really poetic how you put that. So, obviously there was this diversion from something, but it was your natural groove to be diverted from that into your path.
Yeah.
And so, when was it that, because I know you've had this relationship with plants through your garden for quite some time, but as you mentioned, there would have been tonics. I know you would have, like you said, there's herbalism, there's a lot in there as well. Why particularly scent? Why, because you could do a lot of things with just herbalism as well, with the plants that you were interested in.
Scent in particular, I think it was as earlier on with my parents having a really very busy, bustling business. We used to get a lot of cultures, women with so many different perfumes. I'm only about 5 or 6 years old, A lot of there was a lot of traffic of so many different scents come from all around the globe, and I'm profiling. I'm taking in this data of whole language. Had no description for it at the time, yet I knew I enjoyed that stimulation, and it was heightening my my olfactory psychosensory. So at the same time, you start to equate what scent is with emotion and the actual reaction of that personality or that individual. They emit a certain scent, They emit a certain scent, which equates to wherever they're at in their life, or wherever they are really in that present moment, So in that sense, I could start to read people's state of being by the way they smell, whether they said anything or not. So that's quite fascinating in a way, man, that you can do that. The science of it, anyway. There is a artistic science about how that all fits together with essentially I'm reading chemistry. I'm reading the chemistry and and uploading their physical, mental, spiritual state at the same time.
Which is interesting because I've noticed that it's not like I know we place a lot of emphasis on sight, and I think that probably has a lot to do with like the way we react with the world, especially with our devices at the moment. Like our smartphones, they don't smell like anything, you know what I mean? But they look like something. So we rely a lot on sight and sound. But scent isn't something that we continuously, as proactively engaged with consciously, I guess is probably the right word. And I find that interesting because I've been doing some research recently, especially knowing that I was going to have this conversation with you. And I learned that, you know, in the forest, generally, mostly animals are guided by scent. Yeah, continuously, and that's how they respond to their environment. And so they smell, and that's when they say, you know, the predators can smell fear. And so it's that whole being guided by scent. But it's actually disorienting for the animals when you start talking to them because they're like, oh, wait, what happened in the vibration there? Oh, that's vocal. Like, what are they doing? And that's why language is such an interesting facet of the human experience. But yeah, the scent and being able to smell people's state and like the awareness and just like what, just how much we, I guess for me, it was fascinating to think and ponder about how much we've discounted one of our primary senses.
Yeah, man, yeah. Well, they say that there's 70% of the taste buds is in the nose.
Really?
Yeah, so we're actually, we go into a restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
Or you're actually, in a sense, eating air, yeah? Eating air whilst all the time distinguishing what suits you or what what activates you most, you know, by a particular scent. I used to ride down on my motorbike with the fender up, you know, of the helmet. I'd ride through Little Italy, we call this place, not far from us, yeah.
Yeah.
And all these restaurants at dinner time, you know. I'd be smelling these aromas, brother, you know. I was like, wow, check this, you know. There's coffees, there's dinners, there's whatever going off there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that the scent signature as well. Like I know growing up Indian, the scent of Indian food is like this. It's a very distinct sort of aromatic signature, and you've got the scent of you know, Italian food, exactly to what you just touched on, has a very unique signature. But I think even in that, like I know that there's this disconnect because you don't always allude that those scents, that's just the smell of Indian food, but you forget that food is ultimately herbs and spices and plants, and so that connection back to plants. And I know that's a big part of your message, isn't it? It's like trying to connect people back into the plants and their not just nature but their inner nature, right?
Yeah. And how developing a dialogue to how the plant best serves you from its original state of where it was born into this planet, you know. Pretty diverse, taking it down that road, but
amazing.
But yeah, it's most of my creations are all through species plants. I like to have an actual species that hasn't been gene spliced or altered by human. That way you're actually gathering all of its original identity and information, which leaves it as an innocence to that, you know, which we try and retain our innocence wherever we can. I think plants maintain a really good aspect for that, all of us as well. It seems like through scent we always reel into an innocent state, and it's that purity, that scent really draws us back to that point, you know, and boom, it's or every aha moment is total, is that childlike innocence. That's that mind frame is what we what we recall, all the space that we recall in. I think plants, flowers just give us unprecedented portal or doorway for that to constantly dive into, and then and swim through wherever we like, and it's safe. It's a safe zone. So in our innocent, ultimate innocence, we're looking for safe zones, to have that perfect experience. So it's
And have you having that awareness? How do you weave different plants together? Because I know there's many different creations. Like you mentioned, having this dialogue of what is that plant here to support you with? Like, do you find it's a natural? Certain plants have a certain affinity for each other. Because I know when I went and started looking at some of the Pureheart mists that you have to offer, there's a certain theme. It'll be clarity or something like that. And it's you can sort of see that there's a myriad of things that have gone into producing that particular type of mist. How do those plants come together? How do you see them coming together, or what is that process?
I kind of see them as a mosaic of metaphors, and the many storylines that want to encompass the same book or the same message.
Yep.
And that's a patience game. It's really patience. I have all the plants I work with. I have them in my boutique garden here, biodynamic garden. So I think it's the constant acquaintance and relationship that builds, and just sitting with them in silence, my rest place, my beauty place. They all merge and they becomes a singular language together. They merge beautifully together, and it's taken, I think I have 22 different frequency mists, all taken over this 25 years. One might take 2 years, one might take 2 months, one might take 5. Man, I really never have forced nature's hand. It's always in that natural rhythm, and that's how they just keep. And so I couldn't even say I can really, but they just happen to have I usually set up an altar space within myself, which you've said mandala moments. Kind of see that as that's what happens. We put ourselves almost under the under a hypnosis state in a loose sense, altered state with these plants to enter into their realm, to allow them to have their have their domain and talk to our inner terrain as well. And that's setting up, that's inducing yourself in a sense. It's an inducing yourself to be in the perfect framework to receive, and that takes I think there's quite an art to that over many years. Never take it for granted, it just builds, man. I kind of laugh at it at the same time. There's been many a time, in my early years, a lot of walks of life just didn't get it, and earlier on you try and Peru, this is natural for me. Why don't you get this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And you get a bit worn out, you know. Get a bit worn out. It's exhausting until this, this present state of consciousness where everyone is so thirsty and available and open. We're listening so much more deeper to those subtleties which are serving us all the time, or we didn't know were serving us all the time, which are right here. And it's like, boom, it's a good platform. Good platform we're at right now. Plants are getting acknowledged right across the planet. I mean, I know we're losing forests and, whatever other subjects there. But yeah, there's a reinstated respect, which has been long overdue for people, plants, pollinators, everything that comprises us to live in a more pure-hearted state, pretty much, yeah. So, it's a nice dance, man. I love this dance. God, I wouldn't have it any other way, I suppose.
Yeah, so there's something you touched on in there about the subtleties and, us, like, now there being a time where people are more open to opening themselves up to these subtleties to be able to groove into that space. And I think that's really profound because it's in the subtleties that we open up to so much more, but it's initially the subtle sort of, I liken this to basically, the subtle awareness of my health and well-being that sort of then unravels me into like going all the way into myself and going, it was a subtle awareness of like, I don't feel healthy, to then discovering spirituality in my entirety, the subtleties, there's definitely a conversation in there, isn't there?
Yeah. It's a big, it's a big can, that one to open. Yeah, well, I like myself. I do. I like yoga. I love to train. Love to play music. And we've always seeked out, some kind of, I don't know, something to, whether it be, religious practice or yoga practice, it's just like, but now it's like, you don't have to be anything at all, nothing, no labels, no taglines, nothing that really fixes you into, this is the stereotype of anything, which it's a great coat to wear, it is the Technicolor dream coat, you can be all colours of everything. You don't have to be a corporate dude. You don't have to be a stage queen. You know what I mean? or someone that sniffs flowers.
Yeah.
And, you can be all of it. So it's all good. It's all good, man. So that's pretty good where we're going right now.
And so how do you, what inspires you to continually create and continually, because I know, you're continually innovating new scents, your business is continually growing, I know you're pushing further and further as well, or not, it's gravitating to move further and further as well. How's that journey been for you?
It is. I feel more. One of my fortes, or really real loves, is creating what I call a DNA signature perfume. Where I work with the genetic code to establish a personal, very personal, activating, individual perfume, which works with your, works with your whole chemistry and structure, and really and works with your original innocence, your original scent that you were born with in this incarnation on this soul level. Everyone's got it. Everyone's got it. But due to, due to distraction, illusion, or pollution, it gets distorted, man, along this way. So, I try and establish with, real integrity, a stylized perfume essence with plants to really evolve another human. And they kind of fall in love with themselves again. It's a new envelope. New envelope to split open, that big, with it, the psychic sense. They open themselves up, open themselves up to a whole new level. So I kind of love doing that, love doing that. Put them in my bioresonance machine out the back here as well. All that stuff. It's pretty mad. It's kind of mad scientist in a sense, but it is, on a more realistic level, it's alchemy. It is absolute alchemy. And all the Gnostic mystic texts talk about stuff like this. Once you purge your outdated emotions, really see yourself and where you're going. That's something I like to create anyway for people.
So there's something really interesting in there that you mentioned. It's a couple of things like with distraction and pollution. I'd love to have a conversation about that. But I think, can you help us understand what bioresonance is?
Bioresonance in the sense I apply it with is I have a Tesla Lakosky, and Lakosky and Tesla, as you know, was one of the phenomenal philosophers of probably our time.
Probably the key philosopher of our time.
Well, we may not. Exactly. Who knows? We see something like this dude again in our lifetime. It's spiritual information to expand yourself, but through a high velocity wave of current, which passes around your field, passes around your energy field. That in particular, we're all fluctuating at a different frequency all the time. But there is an optimal level which we actually operate from. Right. And bioresonance allows you to reach that those better functioning levels as well. I apply this with plants, essences, and it's therapy. It's almost like, in a sense, it's like when you're in there, in this machine, you actually feel like you're in the essence of your higher self, where in pure meditative state, a bit like the yogis, from Tibet, or they get in that state where they're perceiving everything. And they know nothing. all in the same basket. There's a certain point there which bioresonance, it allows you to bring yourself to that state. So I encourage people to meditate in there. A lot of the times I'll create an essence, a flower essence, to suit them. They'll take that in there too. That configures with them,
Awesome.
So the flower essence supports them on the next stage of their journey at the same time. It's a bit of a process, but that's sort of in part what bioresonance is. It's light wave frequency that upgrades your magnetic field or your torus field, energy field. That's what it does. And with these frequency mists that I create, they maintain that field for you. So you can be in an office environment, you can be anywhere. You actually feel it penetrate negativity or whatever enters into your space. With these mists, they keep you well sealed, and you're operating from your space only. You're not dealing with someone else's moods over there that's 3 feet away from you.
Yep.
That's their stuff. That's your shit, my shit. You look after it, maintain it.
Yep.
That's why I say there. Yeah, that's what I create them for as well. That everything you feel, everything you sense is yours. Whilst ever you're maintaining your field, I'm not interfering with anyone else.
Yeah.
So in a sense, giving you responsibility at the same time. These between the essential oil, which I reconfigurate, the flower essences, bioresonance, information as well. The water, all the water is collected from a cave in the Blue Mountains. Mm-hmm. We all play music to that water where it comes out of the earth. We play music to it. And thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a prayerful thing to have the purity of that water.
Yeah.
Precious, really precious element. Most of all, what I create is to allow others to just see themselves for the beauty and love and, the value of what their spirits here to bring forward, because everyone can benefit by that at the same time.
Themselves and finding that ability to love themselves through frequency, which is really interesting because you've continually, you've designed. And I think generally when people think about frequency, we think about sound.
Yeah.
But your creations continually, you're discussing frequencies, but you're discussing frequencies of scent.
Yeah, there is a as there is, as the many tests and documentation of scent has a certain frequency, and if and they all do. It's all like the scale of music, the same deal. Yeah. The scent has its own scale too. And in a way, scent has a sound too, and that's the sound of silence. To me, as a perfumer, designer, practitioner as well. So there's it's interesting, like they say, all these scents is one big organ reaching out to find its note, find its tone. I think once we entrain with this, these creations help us entrain a new level of thought that it's almost like we know what we like. We know what we like through scent, through sound. Things start to get start to be really fun, without even trying. So, it's spiritual intelligence. I really flip off on a tangent there when he's talking to me, because it's I'm intuiting a lot of the time, because it's always intuiting of for clients or people or whoever. So it's a constant purveyor and surveyor of the speciality of nature. And in a sense, it's like the psychology of plants, psychology of plants. Should be a whole book written of that, bro, plant psychology, because I think I'm using it. Maybe you just kick my ass and maybe get on with things. So, coming, taking this, I'm pretty bent on frequency because itself, because, I have these other skincare, and it is all frequency as well, the techniques, I have these particular techniques. A little of those is, the secret vault of, the Book of Shadows stuff too. It's quite, but it is face for it. Everything we wear, everything we do is frequency. We wear frequency on our face as a skin, skincare. It's a multi-dimensional level, the way we look after ourselves, the way I look after myself as well. So I feel too, we're always trying to, in yoga, we're always trying to reach a higher pitch so we can continually, sense on that higher level all the time. So why I'm on frequency.
And so you're guided into that space through intuition. You were saying a lot, and so is it? I can see there's this kind of chicken or the egg thing. Do the plants come first and the intuition grows, and then the intuition grows and the relationship with the plant fosters? Can you describe that dance a little bit for us?
I feel there's there's a state which happens, and it's where we're exchanging with a plant, when it's seed language, and it's almost like we do a swap. You become plant, the plant becomes human. And from that place, when you're in direct communion, that you don't know that you're a plant, you don't know you're a human. So you let all your egoic planetary structure go. I feel that's where we get to wash ourselves clean, like taking yourself down the most beautiful river and just washing clean all those eons, ionic vibrations that are in the river, in the stream. You wash yourself through it, and you don't always know why you feel so great, but you do. because that river's been a vein in the earth that has probably been running there for 1,000 years. So it still carries the memory of 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the upload we get. It's quite a beautiful resource, you know. So I think over time, tempering the perfect state to be in the best position to actually feel the whole self, like everything feels, your cells right through to your past life, I might say, you know, past lives. You get to feel it right through, in this beautiful state. So, it's unbelievable practice, actually. To know that it's all, to know it's always there. You're always there for yourself, instead of reaching for someone to do it for you. Yeah. Man, good medicine, bro.
Yeah, I find it really interesting as I'm hearing you talk. I get this this idea of like having your intuition and having the frameworks and having the relationships with the plants to sort of guide the journey and guide the process. But at the same time, there's this supreme openness into the unknown of where that's really taking, that may take you in any given moment, almost.
Yeah, well, I feel a lot of the time we're trying to raise our vibration. But if you continually raise in vibration, you can get a little top heavy because you're just bringing it up, and your channel's open, but expanding your frequency means it's going through everything. So you're going out wide, you're going up, you're going as above, as below. So I feel that it's sort of changing the framework a little, so that you are actually not just in a not just in the higher realm of yourself. You're out wide. You're knowing what's going on through other dimensions instead of going up all the time. And maybe that's an addiction in humanity may have had for a while, just raising vibration. Bro. I love this brain on your T-shirt, man. The flowering brain. It's so cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of the agenda of the Inspired Evolution. Is a lot of it is to connect people back into nature, similar to the message that you're sharing here. There's the owl for the wisdom.
Kind of it's very much like aquatic plants, aquatic plants living in that mud, not knowing when they're going to have a chance to see the surface. No, there's a light there somewhere, A bit like our brain, sometimes in our spiritual quest, when's this thing going to pop in, When's this light bulb going to happen? And not using anything too much heavily as a crutch, to reach to reach the more nirvanic type of state as well. But I've these visions, like my lady Isabella, she's a painter, so she paints a few of these visions,
Amazing.
In a way, like giving ourselves permission to paint is like painting the soul, painting the soul free of itself. I only just started playing the guitar, you know. Damn hard instrument to start off with, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah. So but bringing out the poetic self whatever medium you can, bringing that out. I feel feel like what I've been co-creating anyway with nature just allows you to bring that out, you know.
There's an interesting thing in there that you touch on, which is creativity, which is really, I guess, poetic in the juncture that we're at in the conversation, is because we've talked about your creation with the mist, but then we're also talking about staying creative with the poetry and then staying continuously creative. But then it's very hard to ignore that, you know, you're in that symbiosis with the co-creation of plants and flowers. Just that consistent creativity. What does that mean to you? Like, what is creativity to you?
Yeah, I have to pull myself up sometimes. So I just want to create and stay, just create all the time. You know? Sometimes it can be your it can be your bitch as well. You know. But that's what we are. We're creative beings, you know. It is, you know, what we love doing most of all. So yeah, it's the biggest, you know, it's the biggest stimuli of existing, isn't it? You know? Yeah. And
it's consistent across the species.
It is, yeah. Like, you kind of, I don't know, when I go into an art gallery, you know, Brett Whiteley's or wherever, you know, what's your Alex Gray, you know, just, you know, just like you leave all your timelines alone whilst you're looking at it, whilst you're witnessing such beauty, you know. You know, and beautiful artwork. I feel that's what we do when we turn ourselves inwards. We look at all that beautiful artwork we are. And sometimes I say, can I stay a bit longer, you know? Because, you know, it's just, that's, I don't know, that soft primal self that's back in the womb again.
Yeah.
And through my many visions, I've put together the artwork on these bottles, you know, because they're what I've seen as well in my journey of, you know, metamorphosis. It's there's a term used, you know, canonical homomorphism, you know, when you know, nothing's fixed, but you're morphing from wherever you are, you know. It's used usually in a botanical term, you know. Again, where you become plant and plant becomes you, you know.
What's canonical metamorphism?
Canonical, yeah. Canonical homomorphism, yeah. I wasn't going to use that today, but I thought, I kind of love that, word. So yeah,
love it.
Yeah, it's but yeah, being an activating art piece within yourself without any ego attached to it. My message too, you know, really setting off setting off people to see themselves in the image of their own God self through the medium of what the purity of the botanical realm, and the intelligence. The intelligence is just hidden underneath the underneath the apple tree. To what's going to drop next. But bringing humans to their full potentiality, or finding what their potentiator is. In a sense, I think I mentioned just recently, these particular myths, without banging on too much about them, they are immuno-boosting health tonics. The immunity boosting because if your biomagnetic field is preserved and maintained, you don't take any illnesses, because the illness comes from the outside your field rather than the inside out. So you look after that. It's like going for a tune-up on your car. You need to keep it clean, man. Keep it running well. Or you need to, I don't know, clean your windows. You clean yourself at the same time. That's what these allow you to do. And the health tonic. That means it's a tonic. It's a soul tonic too, spiritual tonic, physical tonic, that type of thing too. In some sense, it's a vagatonic, which the vagus nerve that runs from our gut brain to our head brain. If that's if that sense is working well, your gut brain, your heart brain, and your head brain will all be perceiving at the same time. Your electromagnetic field needs to be in good shape to know this. Otherwise, one supporting the other. And that's what frequency is about too, high velocity frequency. Optimize everything. Your heart has a different resonance, hertz frequency. Your kidneys, your intestines, all different frequencies. When they're all optimizing at the best, they're running at their best. Yeah, superhuman status. If you
I love it. On that journey to trying to help people with superhuman status, like I know a lot of your passions for wisdom has been through, people sharing it via words. But if someone's curious more about building a relationship, with plants and their sense of smell or that sort of stuff, is there perhaps a reference or a book that you recommend that people can tune into?
Yeah. I have a book around here. There's a guy, David Crow.
David Crow.
Yeah. David Crow and I want to get this book, bro. Where is it, man? David Crow in particular, he's an amazing amazing plant speak guy. What's his name? Harold Buhner as well.
Harold Buhner.
Yeah, Harold Buhner. Wow. Yeah, the intelligence of the intelligible realms, man, of plants. Just really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. And so my last question, and by no means my least question, that I've got is, if beyond the skin suit and beyond, I guess, who you are as a perfumer and the musician and the poet and creative. It's like, I guess it's esoteric in its nature. Who is Adrian? Who are you?
Who am I? I'm a eccentric journey guy, eccentric journeyman, and yeah, an alchemist by nature. Yeah, always seeking the spiritual intelligence of what plants and flowers have to offer us. A soul. Absolute, soul traveler, man. Absolute soul traveler that really likes to, not overstudy anything, just be in the presence, and never overanalyze anything. Stick in my truth. Stick in my truth, and just surf on the edge. Always like surfing on the edge of what's next.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Pleasure.
And, thank you so much for, again, your time here today as well while we're doing it. So thank you for taking the time out to sharing so openly and so vulnerably everything about frequencies and the myths and your journey and the story and where that's all been and what inspires you. And thank you for, like you said, some of these, you've got 22 myths, but then, you've been curating them over the process of 25 years. So thank you for the wisdom from, all of that work that you put into everything that you've done as well. So thank you so much for all that, and also wishing you all the best for what's coming ahead as well. And just really thank you so much for your time today. And I've got the question now is, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you or your creations?
If you go to our website, www. Pureheart Alchemy. Pureheartalchemy.com. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you'll see all the plethora of different frequencies and offerings and events that we have, musicals, music events. And whatever's coming up next too.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you, Amrit. Complete pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Love of the Inspired Evolution and sharing the Love of the Inspired Evolution. If you feel like this content has supported you or may support anyone else that you know may resonate with the content of it, please share away and share the love around. Thank you guys so much. And to stay up to date on whatever's coming out with the Inspired Evolution, please subscribe. There's all these links in the bio for you to tune into the episodes and all these different platforms, just so the message can get to you and your loved ones. Thank you so much for all your love and support. Stay inspired to evolve.